The tale of rock is long and fabled. A journey that began in the dark days of metal, when a simple man fought his way from roadie to rock god.
Hell yeah!
So, Tim, take us back to when you first thought of the Brutal Legend concept and what those basic ideas were.
Well, for years and years, I've always wanted to make something that was fantasy, but not straight fantasy. Like, you know, normal fantasy is very much based on Tolkien. You know, it's very same elves and dwarves and orcs, and I want to do something a little different that still had that kind of crazy medieval battles and epic stories, but where it had elements of the modern world, like rock and hot rod cars and electric guitars and things, basically everything cool kind of pushed into one fantasy world. You know, Jack has this, in movies like School of Rock and in his band Tenacious D, has this very over-the-top rock and roll character who's very sincerely, like, loves music and you know, just knows a lot about it, and that's what our character Eddie Riggs is like. You know, he's a roadie for a heavy metal band who can fix anything and do anything, and he gets plopped into this strange world and has to figure out how to take his knowledge of being a roadie and apply it to a battle for the liberation of humanity.
So has the character evolved with Jack Black? Has he sort of changed him along the way that the game has developed?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably my natural tendency of writing a character like that would be to start with something kind of similar to Ben Throttle from the game Full Throttle. You know, stoic, you know, quiet, you know, tough character. But then Jack came and added a much more over-the-top, and then also kind of a vulnerable side to the character, a funny side to the character. And so Eddie is a very dynamic range. You know, he's out there with his broadsword hacking demons in half, and then he'll be hitting on a girl in the game, and he'll be trying to act all smooth, and then he'll be really funny. And Jack, as an actor, has all this this range and all these funny things that he does that now he's brought into the character's personality.
Does that make it harder to develop a game when someone steps in and is part of the creative process that normally perhaps wouldn't?
No, I know. I think it makes it much better. I mean, games, I always feel like there's so many games that, I mean, it really only helps to have personality in games. I think a lot of games have characters that are just, you know, quiet, tough guys, you know, but to have that other side to him where he's a human being and where he has, you know, he's funny and he's unpredictable. I think it's so nice to play a game or any entertainment is better when you don't know what the character is going to say next, and I think that's definitely something Jack adds to it.
So the world, the age of metal that we're being transported to, can you tell us something about that world and what's wrong with it?
It's cool in a lot of ways. It's mostly, the main problem with it is that it's humanity has been enslaved by demons, but this world,
that's a big problem.
Kind of a bummer. It's kind of one of that would go in the con column, not the pros. The pros are that, you know, there was an ancient race of titans who lived here before, and they invented heavy metal, rock music, hot rods, everything cool basically, and then they ascended into the heavens to become metal gods. But they left behind instructions for future generations, like hieroglyphics that showed how to build cars, and they taught the animals, like spiders, how to spin guitar strings, and then they buried car parts under the ground. And you know, the trees in this world, you cut them in half and they make a perfect hot rod tire, you know. So they left this all for people to find and discover, and no one ever figured it out. But then you put a roadie into that environment, and here's a guy whose just whole personality is about making do with the resources that he can gather, and he just manages to figure out, this is how you can build a car out of a tree. Come on, let's do it. And so he builds a tour bus, and he puts an army together and helps humans take a tour of destruction across the land to ultimately fight the demons face to face.
When I think of Brutal Legend, I think it's like a lot of guys have been sitting brainstorming, and they had a lot of ideas. And was there ever anything that you said like, oh, we can't do this in this game because it's like you've added everything together?
I think over the course of my career in games, one of the most important things I've ever learned is that whenever you get that feeling of like, oh no, we can't do that, that's just too much, that's exactly what you have to do. Like, that's the thing to do, because probably other people have come to that point, had that same idea, but then backed off of it and like, no, we can't do that. But if you push on through, then you'll have something unique that no one's done before, because that idea seems scary because no one's done it before, and that's a good sign.
Sounds great. Thank you very much for your time.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
supposed to think you're a nun, but I know you're really some kind of big, ugly demon, so let's have it. Aha! I knew it! Big, ugly demon. Kind of sexy, though, in a weird way.